Okay, so now let's talk about substrate options. I will always, on this channel, I will always recommend the Bio Dude and his Terrafauna for these guys, is what he uses. It's just a really good product, and I really enjoy it. I have it in almost all my tanks anyway, so it's just something, if I'm going to use it, I'm going to tell you guys I use it, and then that way you know what I use. You can use paper towels, you just need to really watch the humidity if you are using paper towel as your substrate. A lot of people use coconut fiber at the bottom and clean it out after a couple months. Great, do that. That works out great. Coconut fiber holds in that humidity. As it releases, it helps these guys out. So as far as substrates go, I'm always going to recommend you go in fully bioactive and you plant in there and you have a blast doing that, and then these guys will love it too. So now let's talk about food. For these guys, this is what makes them, in my opinion, the ultimate beginner pet. They can thrive off of just Repashy Crested Gecko diet or Pangea Crested Gecko diet. Now, what is this? This is just a powder that you mix 2 parts water to 1 part diet, mix it up, put it in there, and they eat it. And that's their diet. If you don't want to mess with bugs, you don't have to. They make blends that come with insects in there, so they get their protein, and they have blends that don't have insects, so you can mix it up as needed. If you're gonna do it like that, I would recommend 3 or 4 nights a week do without insects, and then the other 3 or 4 nights out of the week do with insects. One of the biggest mistakes that I see with people whenever they're feeding their crested geckos is they use food bowls that are way too big. So this here is little Egbert. Now, Egbert fits, he's the length of my thumb, okay? I'm not gonna give him a big food bowl because he's not gonna eat all of that. Now, obviously, like Waylon and his girlfriends that you saw before, I'm going to give them a bigger food bowl than I give this little guy. It's kind of common sense, but it's not something that's talked about a lot. He is fed from a water bottle cap, and he usually can't even eat all of that. And he is a couple months old at this point. I'd say about 2 months old, I think. And he's growing like a weed. The way that you know that your gecko is eating is check their poop. If they're pooping, then they're eating, okay? That's something important to remember. You're not gonna find traces of shed like you would on, say, your bearded dragon or chameleon. These guys eat their sheds. So don't look for shed. If you don't think your gecko's shedding, it's because he's eating it or she's eating it. So I'll put in some pictures with the size of my gecko and about the food cup that I go with for them, because I think that a lot of people get frustrated because this stuff is not cheap and they feel like they're wasting a lot of it. Well, provide less of it. If they clear that bowl continuously, maybe it's time to upgrade the bowl a little bit and then go from there. One of the most important things when it comes to feeding these guys, it is to understand how they eat and when they eat. Learn your gecko and figure out their feeding schedule. What I recommend starting out with is, let's say it's Monday. Put a food cup in, leave it in there Monday night, leave it in there Tuesday night, take it out on Wednesday night, and then put another one in on Thursday night. And then repeat this process. Now, if at any of those nights that bowl is empty, what I do is I actually refill mine the next day. And then I continue to refill until there is a night where they don't eat, and then I give them a day off. I do recommend that you feed crickets maybe 4 to 8 a week and leave them in the tank. Throw the crickets in the tank and let these guys hunt. It's great mental and physical enrichment for them. They're running around, they're chasing crickets, and they're gonna eat them. So they're getting a meal out of it. They're getting mental enrichment because they're learning how to hunt, and they're getting physical enrichment because they're running around their tank, which is what you want for these guys. When we keep our animals, we need to understand that it's best for them when we provide a lot of physical and mental enrichment for them. We can put food bowls by them all day and they're just gonna eat from that, but they're not really getting that physical enrichment that they need. In my opinion, to have a healthy gecko that lives a long time, put some crickets in there. Let them hunt. Let them think about how they're going to hunt that cricket. It's really exciting for them. They love it. I'm not against tongue feeding. I think tongue feeding can be very good to like build up a relationship. And to me, tongue feeding is kind of mental enrichment because you're interacting with your gecko. So, but maybe do about half and half. Maybe tongue feed one night and let them hunt. So just put a couple in there, and once they're gone, maybe put a couple more in there. So now let's talk about water and humidity. So your humidity, you're gonna want that to be around 50 to 70%. Now 50 on the lower end, 70 on the high end. Now this is kind of tricky because crested geckos enjoy a good wet period and then let it completely dry out and then get it wet again. So to achieve this wet period, all you need to do is mist once a day. Now, I have on all my tanks, I have a Mist King set up for all my crested geckos. So it goes off once a night for 20 seconds and they get misted and then it dries out. Now, I don't have to worry about humidity as much either because I use fully bioactive tanks and I have plants. So anytime you have plants, your humidity naturally raises, and then the dirt anyway holds moisture and slowly releases that moisture. So my humidity is never an issue. This is why earlier when I was talking about paper towels, for me personally, it has only worked for my babies because I raise them up in bins. Let's talk about water bowls. So you can put a water bowl in your crested gecko's tank. More than likely, they will not drink from it. They drink from the glass, which is why it's so vital that you do mist every night. Putting a water bowl in there will help raise the humidity of the tank. So if you're having humidity issues, put a water bowl in there. That'll help out.